Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of the IOU special, Sisters Studying Deen. Alhamdulillah, we have with us Sister Alice, I believe. Sister, could you please introduce yourself for the listeners and tell us why you chose IOU to study, inshallah?
All right, thank you so much, Sister Samar. My name is Alice Makawa. I am originally from Zimbabwe, currently living in the Gambia. I studied the Bachelor of Arts in Islamic Studies, and I graduated in fall 2019, Alhamdulillah. I decided to study with IOU because I saw it as a convenient way of seeking knowledge at the time, and I really wanted to know more about my religion and get the authentic knowledge because prior to that I was exposed to so many other schools of thought. So I was really looking for something that would at least teach me how to seek knowledge and also point me in the right direction as to where I can find authentic sources, and IOU was just the right fit, Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So how did you learn about the IOU? How did you find out about them?
Okay, so I found out through my husband. So we had just got married, and I then learned that he was studying with IOU. My husband is a revert to Islam, and at this time he had been a Muslim for about 3 years. So for him also, he was looking for something that he could that was convenient enough for him because he could not go out to study. So that is how he came across IOU. So he then told me about it, and I really found it very interesting, and I was motivated to enroll. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So what would you say was your preferred method of studying?
All right. So my preferred method of studying, you mean with regards to the study material on IOU?
Yes.
All right. So on the IOU platform, they do have audio lectures on there. They have video lectures, and they also have books that you can read. And there are certain students who have also compiled like notes that you can always refer to. So for me, I'm not really a reader, so I'm more of a visual learner. So I was more into the videos. So I would really learn better by watching the video lectures and actually seeing the lecturer explain a point. And that was my preferred method of study. So I would always watch videos and then go to the course text afterwards. And I found it easier going through the course text after watching the video because this would help me, understand the course text better. So yeah, I would say video lectures were my preferred method. But after I had my first child, I was trying to look for ways in which like I could study better because having a newborn baby didn't really make it easy for me to sit with a video lecture. And at the time, I didn't have I would say I didn't have a TV, which would maybe amplify the audio for me. So what I would do is I would just have my earphones on, and I would put my lectures on my phone, and I would then listen to the audio lectures. So when I'm doing my chores around the house, I would have those on in my ears, and I would listen to them, and then go ahead and study the course text after that. So this was much more preferred after having a baby.
Okay, mashallah, alhamdulillah. So what study hacks would you give or study tips would you give to other sisters who are embarking on their studies and also, are wives maybe or mothers as well?
All right. So I guess my study tips will be more for the mommies because I find it was quite a challenge to study with kids. But I guess it can be applicable to any other person as well. So basically, I would say for me, like I said, just listening to, like, for example, it was really difficult for me to find a continuous period of time where I could sit with my studies. So then I would resort to this method of trying to listen as much as I can, to listen to as much as I can whilst I'm doing my chores during the day, whilst I'm breastfeeding my baby. I was listening to some lectures, and this really helped because by the time you go to the course text, it is not like like when you're reading something for the first time, it does take a lot more concentration to actually understand a point. But if you have listened to the audio lectures or the video lectures, then going through the course text will not take you as much time to understand, and hence, of course, you'd tend to grasp the information much better and be more prepared for your module test. So I'll say that one for starters, and then um, I would then take notes. Like, I know everyone takes notes, right? But for me, I would take notes 2 times. So what I'll do is I'm going through my course text after listening to the audio. I then take notes from the course text. So I like taking detailed notes. So I'll take notes at this time, and then at the time of revising, maybe I'm trying to revise for exams. I'll try and do that like way before the exam period. But of course, it wouldn't always work out this way, but I would try as much as I can. So when I do this, then I would make like like how you fold like in the A4 page like into half, and then I would put like bullet points, very very summarized points from my notes, because now I'll be going through my notes. I would make sure that my notes have all the important points from the course text and from the audio, because what I noticed is that if you're now attempting the module test after going through one thing, like maybe you just listen to the video or the audio and then you go ahead and attempt the module test, you might miss certain questions because they'll ask um, certain things that were in the course text as well that might not have been covered in the audio or the video. So I'll make sure that my notes contain everything from the course text and also from the audio, like all the main points, important dates, names of scholars, and all that stuff. So now when I'm now writing my bullet notes, I would make sure that I'm now summarizing it a lot more, so that just before I write my exam, I just go through those bullet points, and yeah, I'm much more prepared that way. And also, as I am revising as well, I would find reviewing my module test was a big thing, because that would help me understand the questions that I got, where I got wrong, certain questions, and maybe go back and now actually try to understand why I got that wrong, and not make sure that if I get that question again, I will not get it wrong. So that is what I'll do. So these are the main things that I'll do when I was studying, and I found them to be quite helpful. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik. Those are really very detailed, advices that you've given, mashallah. Very beneficial.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Barakallahu feek. So, what advice would you give to Muslim women regarding seeking knowledge of Islam?
All right. So this is quite a topic that I'm very much passionate about. Um, so basically, seeking knowledge is compulsory to start with. There is a hadith that tells us that seeking knowledge is compulsory for every Muslim woman or Muslim man. So in this hadith, it's not specific only to Islamic knowledge, but all the other knowledge that is out there. So specifically, Islamic knowledge is very important. It is actually the best knowledge that you can get, and after that you have your medicine, and then after that everything else follows. So Islamic knowledge is very, very important. So seeking Islamic knowledge should become a priority for every Muslim. I would say especially the woman, because the mothers or the women are the the teachers of the nation. Basically, they are the ones that educate the nation. So for the mothers, or for the brother, for the sisters, for the daughters, women have much more impact when they are knowledgeable than when they are not, because women are the ones that are responsible for the upbringing of the next generation. So I would say seeking Islamic knowledge is supposed to be the number one priority for every Muslim woman, because now if you have your kids, then you know which direction to guide them towards, because you have sought that knowledge, and you know what is right. You know how to differentiate between sources, as to sift out and make sure that you pick out the right sources to teach your child, because now it is very much more difficult on the internet to actually um, get hold of. A lot of stuff is being put out there, so it is much more difficult to actually sift through that whole chunk of information that is posted online if you do not have the knowledge. So if you have the knowledge, then it will be easier for you to know where to go when you want certain sources. If maybe you're homeschooling your child and you want to teach them about Islam or fiqh or aqidah, tawheed and all that stuff, you know where to look. So if you do not, then it becomes detrimental, because detrimental to society at large, because maybe you might then expose your child to certain beliefs that are not really part of the correct standpoint, which is the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So then it would be then detrimental to society, because that child would then pass on whatever knowledge you gave them to the next person and to their own kids as well. So it is really important to seek Islamic knowledge for that reason, authentic Islamic knowledge, so to speak. But in general, like imagine, we know that if you pass on your knowledge, you get rewards. Like if you teach someone one thing, you get rewards for that one. Like whenever that person, maybe you taught them how to make wudu, whenever that person makes wudu, and what they do when they have wudu, you get rewarded for that, because you taught them how to make wudu. So imagine, here you have your child, and you teach the child from a young age how to recite Surah Al-Fatiha, for example, and they grow up making salah. And you know how many times we make salah? We make salah 5 times every day, and we recite Surah Al-Fatiha in those salahs in every rakat. So it becomes a sadaqah jariyah for you, because that child is now going to, recite Surah Al-Fatiha basically until the end of their life. And they are going to pass that knowledge on. So you're not only going to teach your child Surah Al-Fatiha, you're going to teach your child a lot of other concepts if you have the knowledge. So whatever you teach your child and the child practices upon it, then you get the reward for it. But not only kids, because if you're a sister, you can educate your siblings, you can educate your brothers and your other sisters. You can even educate your parents, because I come from a community where our parents were not as educated Islamically as maybe the younger generation. So you'd find that the younger generation are now responsible for educating the whole family. So from my family, for example, I would now guide my mom through a lot of things, because she was also a river to Islam, alhamdulillah. And my father also taught me a lot of things from fiqh, aqidah, and all the other Islamic sciences. And for him, he learned from a certain methodology, or from a certain school of thought. So I was now responsible for actually guiding him towards the more authentic sources and the correct way of things, of earning tawab, and also to better the society at large, because we shouldn't underestimate the effect that knowledge has, even if it's a very small thing. A very small thing can make a huge difference. So I feel women have a bigger impact on the society because they are the ones that are more in touch with the family. They are the ones that are more in touch with society. So if they learn Islam, then the society will be a much better place, inshallah.
Absolutely. Inshallah, inshallah. 100% agree with you, Sister Alama Barak. You've made some very beautiful points, and I like how you address the different areas in which a Muslim woman can affect, her community as a whole, alhamdulillah. Yes, it's not just to the children themselves, but it extends much further than that. So it's really important and vital for Muslim women to take that responsibility on themselves to definitely learn the knowledge of Islam as much as possible, alhamdulillah.
Yes, inshallah. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Barakallahu feekum, sister. It's been really beautiful listening to your experiences today. And do you have any final thoughts or messages for sisters who might be considering joining the IOU?
All right. So I would just want to make just an observation just from my own circles. So basically, most people from where I come from view seeking Islamic knowledge. They do not have a high regard for someone who studies Islam, and I feel this is a very I would say something that needs to be corrected, because, like I said, that Islam is the most important knowledge that you can ever seek. So it is important for people to get this, to get priorities right, because when you seek knowledge, you have made an intention and Allah has recorded it, and because it's the best knowledge, then you earn the most tawab doing it and practicing it. So I just want to say, I know there are a lot of societal pressures out there. Like in my own case, I left an engineering degree to study Islamic studies, and it caused a lot of societal, I would say discrimination. Nice to hear, but that is how I was feeling at the time, because people started looking at me differently, like, oh, okay, she's not going to be an engineer anymore. She's just studying Islam now. What will she do with the Islamic degree? Like, it caused a lot of, and I was really hurt by that, because certain people who I felt would have seen it differently were, were not seeing it that way. Like maybe people I looked up to as scholars and everything. For them, it was something. It was like, they just settled for studying Islam, because then they would go ahead and become an imam, or I don't know, earn some form of livelihood from it. But then I just want to say to the sisters out there that having Islamic knowledge is is the most beautiful thing that anyone can ever experience, like anyone can ever have, anyone can ever experience, the experience of seeking knowledge. So it is much more rewarding. People always look at what they can see with their eyes, and people are always looking at, okay, if you are going to be a medical doctor, for example, you earn a lot of money, and then basically your life is set, so to speak. But I beg to differ, because then Allah is the owner of rizq, right? Allah is the owner of rizq. No matter what path you choose in life, the rizq has already been written down for you by Allah.
Exactly.
So whatever you do, Allah is. But if you're going to be a millionaire in your life, you will be a millionaire doing whatever it is that you're doing. So you can be a cobbler and become a millionaire. You can be a dressmaker. You can be I don't know. You can be an imam. You can be a scholar of Islam. But we're not saying that we should seek knowledge for that. I am just making a point that even if you decide to seek knowledge of Islam in particular, that does not affect your risk at all, not in any kind of way.
Exactly.
Because this is a point that a lot of people would, like a lot of sisters would have a lot of pressures, like, oh, my parents want me to be a medical doctor, my parents want me to be this. It's okay to pursue all these other types of knowledge as well, but just make sure you have your Islamic knowledge first, because I feel that has made an impact in my life to have the Islamic knowledge first before pursuing any other knowledge, because then that will be your foundation. It will be your foundation for navigating life. So if you have the Islamic knowledge first, you go ahead and pursue a career in medicine, a career in accounting, a career in finance, a career in teaching. You know how to navigate it, because now you have that blueprint. Like you said, Islam is a blueprint, but you won't know the blueprint until you learn about it. So you have that blueprint to always refer to, like, okay, I have this case here, how do I navigate it, to make decisions in your life, to make decisions in even your family life, in your career life. So that is the base. The Islamic knowledge is the base. So just know that whatever you do, you always have to have the base, you have to have the foundation right, which is the Islamic knowledge. If you choose to build on that, alhamdulillah, the better. If you choose to pursue other forms of knowledge, alhamdulillah, but you have the base. And if you choose to continue on the Islamic studies path, just know your risk will not be affected at all, because it's Allah who's the giver of risk. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair, sister. Thank you so much for giving your time
Ameen wa
today.
iyyakum.
These very beneficial and relevant advices to Muslim women, especially, alhamdulillah, and encouraging them to join the IOU, so that there's no excuses really, that we can try as much as possible to learn Islamic knowledge.
Yes, inshallah. There's no excuses at all, because IOU has made it much more easy. Everything is online. It's fully online, so there's no excuses at all.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah
Alhamdulillah.
khair, sister. Thank you so much for your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.